Yes, give us a round of applause, everyone. Where's the energy? Yes. Where's, yeah, yep. I used it there. Sorry, we're doing some seating arrangements.
Here. That's super fun, that's awkward.
Yeah, we're gonna be here, so reorient your eyes towards this side of the stage, because we're leaving that alone. But we really appreciate you all for being here and watching live on Twitch. I'm Shira Lazar. I'm the founder of What's Trending, been in digital culture for a long time, and it's great to be with these leaders to talk about what you're up to with everyone and everything you're doing. So just a quick little intro for context. Robin is just a badass. Yes, come on.
Thanks for having me.
VP head instructor at Peloton. Have you seen her at Peloton? Yes. I need some of that right now in my life. Two-time New York Times bestseller and founder of Swagger Society. Give it up for Robin.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.
And then the last but not least one, the second, Micah Johnson, everyone, ex-MLB player, creator of Aku Dreams. Micah, thank you for being here. So both of you come from the athletics background. Let's just give some context, like what made you want to get into Web3 and this new journey? Robin.
You know, I think Micah should, look, I just have to say I'm such an admirer of what Micah has done and of Aku. For a lot of reasons, not only the creative spirit behind it, but the social justice spirit behind it, and the idea that Web3 will be a diverse world. So all that being said, Micah should answer first.
No, for me, I got into it out of pure necessity. When I retired in 2018, I was already painting when I was with the Dodgers, and I needed a way to monetize my work. And so I just got in it, figured out what crypto art was. This was 2019, and realized that there's people out there that really wanted to support me. And instead of just liking up my photo on Instagram, they were putting their money behind it, and then telling their friends to do the same. And that's when I really recognized the potential of this space and what it meant to kind of orchestrate an audience or a collector base around a token. And
that seems really simple the way you're talking about it. Yeah, I just did this and that, and I'm here now. Well, let's talk about Swagger Society. Like, I want to hear more about the projects and what you each are doing and bringing to the world. And also, I mean, Aku Dreams has been around, how it's evolved too. So tell us more about Swagger Society.
Well, Swagger Society is in chapter 1, to use some Aku terminology. Yeah, we're in the nascent stage where we're going to mint our first NFTs very soon. But Swagger Society is a lifestyle membership club. I think the first in Web3, certainly of its kind, with the spirit of self-actualization and self-determination behind it. I say very pointedly that Swagger Society is for people who want to get shit done, who want to optimize their lives, join a community who are of growth mindset values. I've been building community for over 10 years as a leader in wellness, as an ultramarathoner, as an author, as an entrepreneur, as an executive, now as a mom. And it was important for me to be able to gather in community, anchored in those values, but utilizing Web3 technology. And I do believe that, I think we're all here because we see the future in Web3 and the technology, but I'm less interested in the actual functionality of the tech and much more interested in how it can anchor us in community for the long term. So Swagger Society is a membership club where the holders will unlock the kingdom that we've created. I think that oftentimes the conversations that I'm having with my followers and fans is very fragmented. It's buried in DMs, comments. If Instagram crumbles tomorrow, where do we gather? So I said, fuck that, I'm building my own kingdom. So that's what Swagger Society is, and anybody who wants to earn jewels in the crown is welcome to join me.
Okay. I'm feeling it. We need more growth mindset. There's a lot of fear right now. A lot of fear happening and anxiety in the space. Even though I did ask you, Micah, I was like, what do you feel? I mean, you were in it when it was hot. Are you feeling like it's slowing down? And you're like, no, it's not slowing down. But tell us more about how Aku has evolved.
Yeah, I don't think it's slowing down. It's just getting into a position of reality, really. You think about where it was in 2021 and everybody's rushing in, trying to figure it out. For me, and what I'm doing, with Aku and the company is, we're able to, build off of that momentum, and now it's about scaling IP and bringing IP into traditional ecosystems in a way that you have more leverage than I would have previously. And so, over the past 2 years, I've built amazing relationships across, some of the best studios in Hollywood. And it's now like it's about how can I help be that bridge between IP and bring it into the Akuverse. And where I see Web3, kind of slotting in is, to Robin's point, right now, you have a fragmented audience across these different social platforms. Web3 is that, underlying layer that can help you own the audience and have a direct connection with your collector base in a way that, it doesn't exist today. So for me, I'm bullish on, that kind of use of the blockchain, and not so necessarily based around the speculative nature that we kind of saw in the past 2 years.
Yeah, and I loved your answer as we were talking backstage, Robin, about why digital collectibles, because you are so busy. You have a very successful career. Obviously, we know people that have that success. It doesn't stop them. There's more, right? There's always a challenge. And you mentioned this a bit, but why now move into this when you could have probably even done it as a partnership with another company, right?
Right, well, I mean, I think the fact that we're gonna have a loyalty program built into Swagger Society, so I'll be able to engage and really excite, I hope, our followers, to our holders, to feel like they are co-creating this world with me. And, yes, would it be easier for me to do a traditional brand partnership for a fee? Sure. But then where's the ownership? I think so much of the concepts of digital identity ownership, being able to invest directly in creators, being able to buy art and knowing that the artist is actually leveraging that relationship and you don't have a ton of middlemen. The technology is the future, and I think I am able to, with the loyalty program and what we're going to be building under the Swagger Society umbrella, I'm able to give my followers who are giving the most to Swagger Society by showing up to our events, by dropping POAPs, things like that. And it's exciting to me because the concepts that we're building Swagger Society on, of defining your own finish line, it is for hustlers who want to get to that next level. In being rewarded within the loyalty program, they are also rewarding themselves with loyalty in self-care and self-love. So it kind of is that cyclical relationship. And I guess specifically to the digital asset piece, it just makes it easier. It takes out friction and it provides one-to-one direct ownership of the relationship.
Let's also be clear, we do need more women of color in this space, and we do need more Black folks in this space.
Yeah.
I mean, we need that visibility. We need leaders, and we need to be amplifying those leaders, but we need to be creating space for more of that.
Yeah.
So I know that's a big part of you. We deserve and we need more of that.
Yeah, I think it's important when you think about the future of any, time in history when you build wealth. It's always around a revolution. I think this is a revolution that's happening, and so it's important that we not only educate but have a seat at the table. And that's why it's amazing to see Robin coming in and do this on her own, instead of the brand partnerships, because it's going to be a massive opportunity to bring her audience base, which is a much different audience base than what currently exists in the Web3 landscape. So what they're building is going to be a massive bridge to a more diverse ecosystem. And so we should all support when people are doing stuff like that, and we should support everybody that's really trying to onboard new people into the space.
Yeah, I think the more that we build bridges, the more that we see representation, the more we see, I have educated myself very publicly in Web3 concepts. It's whether I'm on a podcast, whether I'm on a Twitter space, I'll be the first one to say, I didn't have a wallet until, this is before, but I was kind of late to that whole game, I'm not a technologist, I am not a gamer, but I do know how to marry grit and obsession. And I will not be deterred. And when my husband Drew has been very involved in Web3 for a while, and in impact investing and other things, and he came back to some of these crypto conferences, and he was showing me videos, and I was like, that's a lot of white men. So we're gonna change that. And I decided pretty early on, once I started seeing, what Eva Longoria was doing, what Reese was doing, what Gary Vee was doing, that you could really build community anchored in what I was already about. And I just think we've learned from a lot of previous social justice movements that sometimes when you're not invited to the table, you need to just build your own table and amplify the shit out of it. And so I've gravitated to people in the space who are doing that, like Micah, like Shira. I'm so glad we got to meet today. And it's important that when you don't see yourself represented, if you don't see what you need in your community, it might be on you to build it. And so I thought, okay, I'm not seeing this meta wellness conversation happening. I'm not seeing the marriage of hustle and self-actualization with the technology of Web3. So I guess I have to build it with Swagger Society. And I'm really proud, specifically, on the diversity piece, the art that we're gonna drop is one of the first female-led generative PFP collections. Molly Dixon is our artist, and we have specifically really, really co-created a collection that is, we've included non-binary art specifically in the collection, so we're really getting expansive in that gender conversation, and I think that that's just the first step.
I love that. Yes, that deserves a round of applause. I'm a founding member of my BFF. I think that education is so key in this space, and not leaving people behind and not making people feel stupid or wrong for asking questions, right? And I think it's also important to, when you're looking at your team, whether you're in the just developer side of it, founding team, you have your comms people, marketing people, look around and see who's in it, who's in the space. Are there a lot of the same people? And if that's the case, let's make some change. And we need to go out of our way to do it. It's not gonna just happen.
Yeah.
Right? So thank you for sharing all that, and also for going out of your way to learn and to think about all the nuances in the creation of what you're building. Because it requires a lot. These projects require a lot. I guess Micah, you're here, you haven't been to ETH Denver. Why come to a conference like this?
Oh, I think it's important to show that, as I've been operating more so in the traditional kind of media landscape over the past several months, to show that, we still believe in the technology, and we still believe in what's being built right now. I think, outside looking in, people can say, oh, what's happening over there? Is that still a thing? Are NFTs still a thing? So I think it's important that, that I'm out here and I'm still talking about it and amplifying what's happening, within the space. Because, it's very easy to be in this bubble in this, on Twitter and just unaware of what's really happening. And, I think there was some sentiment going on around. It was like, oh, it's, it's over. It was a boom. It was a bubble. You know what I'm saying? So, I look at my, being here as and, talking about it, posting about it to let them know, we're still building and, in both sides of the lanes.
Thank you. That gives me hope. I'm feeling the positivity because Twitter can be scary. Let me tell you, I've lost many nights sleep going on Twitter and just starting to realize, am I just drinking the Kool-Aid? Is this am I crazy for still being in this space? And it could really mess with your head. Yeah. Right? Yeah,
no, I think it's important that you that's a good point, because I think it's important that people have that kind of mental stability. And, this is always on, thing, and feel like you're always chasing, always trying to build, and this person over here is doing that, and that person, I need to, keep up. And, I think it's important that nobody, I believe nobody should, rush your process. And so you're on your own timeline, and I don't really try to get on Twitter, because I know what I'm building. I know exactly what I'm building, who I'm building it with, what I'm building it for. I just don't try to go on there, because you can get, naturally, I'm a person that can be influenced. That's why I live in the middle of nowhere, and I know what I'm kind of building. So you gotta be careful with that mindset and stay confident in your approach.
Well, that's great advice. Let's get into that community engagement angle, because so much of building this space is building something that has a great foundation, but then community. None of this is anything without the community. That's why ETH Denver exists. So tell me more, Robin, about your approach to community, and you've done it obviously through Instagram and everything you've built, but how it might shift in terms of what you're building or how you're approaching that.
Well, this would be, with Swagger Society, it's unprecedented access to the toolkit of the growth mindset toolkit that I've basically been building for the past 20 years. And I've been able to, with my first book, I poured a lot of it into that. With my masterclass on mental toughness, I put a lot of it into that. Of course, there's a paywall, and that's for masterclass, who I love, but after my business with them, that's it. They just own that gated content. So this is an ability to serve my community, my most engaged followers, the stake one holders who are going to be, part owners of this kingdom. And my greatest wish for Swagger Society is that it becomes a kingdom where people champion each other, and you find your fellow hustlers who maybe have similar goals in mind, but certainly have a macro ethos that better is possible. And we will not settle. Mediocrity is not on the menu. And I used to be a corporate litigator, and I think malaise, that okay is just okay, was pervasive. So I want to create a micro community where I can go deeper in that engagement. So is it in real life events? I held a 3 for 31, activity challenge every year. I have for the last 10 years. It's 30 minutes of movement a day for the month of December. This year, for the first time ever, in relation to Swagger Society, we did a reward for the most engaged folks, and that became just a virtual pop-up. And it wasn't overly complicated, right? It was just me and an ability to engage with 50 people and go deeper. And so that I want to peel back that layer of the onion for in real life and virtual events. And I think, making sure that what we're building in our ecosystem, whether it's the token gated locker that folks can log into and see all the robust things that we're going to be dropping in there, or whether it's engaging with other community members of like-minded folks, that I think is really powerful, because I think we're starved for connection. And in an age where we have the ability to connect at any moment, I actually think we're starved for connection the most. And so I get really excited about the potential for community in Web3, because we've never been able to access our micro communities easier. And so Swagger Society certainly will be that.
I think that's so awesome. I love that you just said, it doesn't need to be complicated. How many of us think about all these elements and are just like, oh God, this seems complicated? A bit of a mindset shift. Right, doesn't need to be hard. While there could be a lot of work to be done, but then also, even you said, looking at 50 people even. I think that we think about blue chip projects, Micah, and what we've seen is it needs this sweep, it needs this huge element, and that might not be the case in terms of a successful project when it comes to community engagement. What have you seen and what has worked?
For us, we have an amazing community. They've been around for over 2 years now. Who bought into the belief that this character deserves to be into the world, and bought into the belief of me as a creator. And I took that responsibility on as their, for the last 2 years to deliver that on that. That's not unique to Web3. That's just how you're brought up. You have a responsibility to people who believe in you. Yeah. It's nothing more complicated than that. And so my job is to continue to innovate, explore opportunities, hustle, for them, because they believed in me. And that's not anything. When you talk about blue chip, I don't even know what that means. It's only been around for 2 years, 3 years, right? I'm talking about blue chip artists being George Condo or Picasso, we're so fresh. And so what I'm excited about is just the opportunity that I've been given from my community, who said, I love Aku, I'm gonna buy an NFT and support you. Now I love the opportunity of going out there and facing the challenges every single day and taking the red eyes here and there and there and there, because I know they're gonna benefit from it. And that's what it's really about.
Yep. So when you were building the world and brand, what were you thinking about in terms of those value adds, or the utility? Is that important to you, and how has that changed over time and with the landscape shifting?
Change. You have to be malleable in the sense of what they want, and you got to play the long-term and the short-term gain, and you have to focus on, for me, my real target demographic for Aku is the 8 to 9 to 10-year-olds. That's what he was built for, right? He's a kid's IP based around my nephew's question. So as we develop those types of IP verticals to reach those extensions, that takes time. right? And the infrastructure for reaching and building books and film and all that stuff takes time. But in the short term, it's like, how can we service the current community base? And you have to stay tapped in, you know? So I've scaled the team to have Web3 people solely focused on the Web3 ecosystem. But it's also too, like, you can't be a sellout and do something that's not core to what you're building, you know? It's not gonna make sense for Swagger Society to drop, you know, Dorito chips, you know what I mean? That's not gonna make sense, right? Right? So what we're trying to do is just you gotta be aligned, you gotta be confident in what you're building, and just really the value for a community is seeing the founder out there hustling, you know, and present and trying to build on it.
Do you see like platforms like Discord still being important for community building? And are there other platforms that you two are looking at right now?
Well, Swagger Society is building its own, but we do have a Discord, and that's definitely, you know, that's been eye-opening for me because I was very unfamiliar with Discord. I found it super clunky and frankly annoying. No shade to any Discord aficionados, but the ROI for me was to be able to see, like, our community manager say, we have teachers, we have doctors, we have people who have literally just created their login today and are joining and they're engaging daily. And I said, this is what it's about. So whatever the vehicle is to build the bridge and engage that conversation, I'm with it. But it's also something that could evaporate tomorrow. I have no stake in Discord. So I still want to build my own kingdom where folks can engage under that umbrella.
Yeah. What about you?
No, I'm with the same. It's the same. You know, Discord's clunky. My mom don't know how to use Discord, and my mom is buying Aku stuff. So why would I build on? You know?
Yeah. Where can people be going? Like, where can you bring people that they would know, like, they could still buy into this space and community? You know, where is accessible right now?
Well, to Robin's point, right now we operate with the tools that we have. You know, the Discords and the Twitters and all that. But we're all building, you know, platforms that we'll be able to, you know, scale and own the audience and be able to connect directly with, you know, our communities. And I think everybody's building that. It's just going to take time. The boom happened, and you don't have the infrastructure in place. So now you just iterate. You know, it's like what we have now is going to look way different than what we have in 5 years. So you use what you got. You know what I mean?
There's so many developers here. How many developers are here? Can you raise your hand?
Woo! Thank you.
Who's thank you. Who's a marketer? Okay, there's a lot of marketers. So I guess what advice, you two have built such successful careers as your own personal brand and your companies, like what advice do you have for the marketers and developers out there building either things for all of us to use, or they want us to be, you know, ambassadors, or they want to possibly, I don't know, work with big brands and people that bring audiences and communities?
I would say know your worth and add tax. Know your worth and add tax, honey. And sometimes that tax might be a boundary around your time to protect your mental health, maintain a movement practice, right? Like I get it. It's 24 hours a day. There's that hustle culture. There's gamer culture, which I'm fascinated with. I'm grateful to be here this week to witness it because it's really inspiring, actually. However, you are one of one. You are limited edition. Your work is important. And when we get into that mentality that somebody else is doing it better, you have to go back to how you can leverage what you do differently and own that.
Yes. Okay.
Perfect. She nailed it.
No, Mike, I'm not letting you off that easy.
Yeah, no.
Come on.
She nailed it. You know, I should go first next time and answer the questions. No, but I mean, you know, I think developers have played obviously a critical role in this space. Obviously, it's such a technologically advanced space and hinges on technology. And as you know, most non-technical founders, you rely so much on developers. So for me, it's really appreciating them and like she said, like, you know, the one-on-ones and like really protecting them is very important, very important. And then marketing side, you know, I think be authentic is important. Just because everybody out there is shouting and talking all the time on Twitter and writing threads about this and that doesn't mean you have to. Be authentic to what's you. If that's you, that's great. Write the threads because I love reading them. I love listening, but it's like it's not for everybody. So I think, you know, you can get into a place of wanting to be like what everybody's doing because it's hot. But you got to be authentic because people can smell it out from a mile away if it's not.
And just finally, we are wrapping up. I do want to know what the future holds for each of your companies, what you're building. You kind of have shared that. And then do you think that this will be the year for more of that mainstream adoption? Because more folks like you are doing this, which by the way is exciting to me, because that means I feel like, okay, it's not, like once again, this doom and gloom, like it's over, or now it's AI. But when I see people like you doing this and really caring and having good value systems, it makes me excited to continue to be here, by the way.
There you go,
yes.
You go. Well, I'm gonna answer it because I'm not gonna let you blow me away again, so. No, what I'm really focused on right now, we have an amazing, coming into this year, our focus was on reaching that target demographic that I mentioned in those kids and doubling down on our existing community base and, doing the right deals and the right kind of people. We have a very exciting back to school initiative we're doing in August, handing out thousands of backpacks, Aku's backpack across the country with some really amazing partners, nationwide and local. And then, introducing more mainstream content for kids to consume around that same time. And then also I'm looking at expanding the Akuverse from an IP library perspective, introducing new characters that aren't necessarily mine, more so bringing IP in and helping incubate that. And so like I said, I think this year is the year for mainstream, and I positioned the company and some of our initiatives to do that. And so it's a very, very exciting year.
Amazing.
Yeah. So we're still putting, we're still putting the paint on the walls of Swagger Society, so to speak. But the kingdom is being built, and before we mint, we actually have a really. So we're calling our OGs, the first 99, the OCs, the original crowns, because everybody in Swagger Society will have a crown. And there's an opportunity to win the golden ticket. It's one of the 99 OCs, and registration, you can check out the registration link for that, Swagger Society, on Twitter. Registration closes on Monday, so there's just a few days left to register to win one of our 99 top tier NFTs. And we have a very one-of-one limited edition charity auction that's going to be announced with a charity partner really soon. So we're kind of in that pre-mint to mint stage, and it's really exciting because I think, to your question, yes, there's always a new starting line. While we have to be critical thinkers, trusted critics in our community, ask questions, be skeptical. I want folks to be skeptical. I want you to ask the tough questions, especially when you're putting your money on the line. But there's always an opportunity for us to begin again. So I don't buy that doom and gloom stuff. I just want to be a savvy consumer and continue to educate myself on these concepts and build bridges and build community in this world.
Amazing. Well, give it up for Robin and Micah, everyone.
Thank you, Shira.
Oh my God, I'm feeling the energy. I want to be part of your communities. Check out what they're building. Thank you so much to all of you and ETH Denver for having us. Let's keep building, everyone, right? Yes.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you so much.